Hi guys, I thought I would make this video in response to it was a request from, I think it was Jason Brown, and I think Marksman Gaming also left a message in one of the comments about a tutorial. Unfortunately, Jason, if you're watching, I hope you are, for some reason I can't seem to reply to your comments, which is unfortunate. I do read them, but for some reason it doesn't let me reply. But anyway, it was in regards to a request in a tutorial. Not quite sure how that would go filming it, because I do paint through a light, a magnifier with a light on it as well, so I'm not sure how the camera would set up. So I thought I could sort of talk you through the paint method that I used on these Warlord Games Napoleonic Hanoverian figures. So what I've got here is 5 figures showing the different stages that I work through, and obviously working from the one here, which is just the miniature being primed in a matte black. Sometimes I spray, sometimes I just put it on with a brush using the Citadel black base colour for that. But most of the time I do use a matte spray. So everybody knows how to prime figures, so there's not much to say on that one, but that's it in the primed stage, ready for putting on some of the base colours. So we'll just put that one to the side, we don't need to see that one again. So here we have the 4 figures. So firstly, this guy here, after being primed, is that in focus there? Yeah. So after being primed, I put on some of the base colours, which is the red hat, the red jacket, also the yellow band on the cap, collar cuffs, grey trousers, the blue canteen, the grey blanket on top of the backpack there, and I also do the canteen strap as well, and that's the base colours that I do to begin with. And I'll just let you see some of these colours. So starting with the red, this is what the first colour I use, which is Vallejo model colour red, 033, which is, it's a sort of intermediate red, not too dark and not too bright, but that's the base colour for the red that I used there. So there's that one. For the yellow, I use the Citadel Layer, oh, can you see that okay? Layer Bala Brown, that's my base colour from the yellow parts. And we have the water canteen, the canteen on the back there is actually a foundry paint, which is, just focus in there, can we? So you can see that, yeah. It's Foundry French Hussar Sky Blue 76B. So that's what I use for the canteen. And for the trousers, I use another Citadel paint, which is the Citadel Layer Dawnstone. That's for the trousers. And the blanket roll on the back, the backpack there, is a slightly darker grey. You see that base colour? That's the, see that one there? Yeah, that's that mechanicalist, or whatever it's called, standard grey. And that's the backpack. And for the leather strap for the canteen, the Vallejo model colour leather belt, that one there, 312, that one. So that's I get them onto the figure at that stage, and that's that ready to go. So next stage is, there's them here, and this is when I apply a wash, and I use the Citadel shade Agrax Earth shade. Now I tend to over the trousers and the canteen and also the blanket roll, I just put it in straight out of the pot. On the jacket, on the facings, I thin it down slightly with water, so it's not too rich, but it does shade in just in the deeper recesses. So that's them all shaded, ready to go. And also at that stage I put on the base colour for the flesh, which I think I've showed before in a previous video. I use the Panzer Aces, here we go, Shadows Flesh 343. So that's a base colour for the flesh. So at that stage I'm ready to move on to the next part, which is, let's put that away there. So this will be the figure at the end of the next stage, which is starting to layer up some of the colours here. So at this point, so it has been washed, and after that I've put on the next layer for the flesh, which is Panzer Aces again, flesh base 341. So that's on. Also the straps on the miniature, I lay down a base of Vallejo model colour light grey, which is 155, which I think's a really nice grey for painting white on top of it. It's really good, not too dark, but it does give it a nice shade and that. So there's that one. And also at this stage I would start the musket. Now that would get, it's a foundry paint I use. It's a bit messy, this pot. And this one is, we'll turn it up the right way. I think I've got it the right way, have we? Yeah, it's a bit faded on the top. But it's musket stock brown shade, and that's 72A. That's for the musket, that one. Now the other thing that I do at this stage is I do some of the metallics, get them on. So, and for metallics I use Vallejo model air colours. So the buttons for that one I use model air silver. I think that's a number on that one, is it? 063. I find these model colour metallics really good because they're very, as I said, obviously very thin for the airbrush, and they're very good to work with. So that's for the silver buttons. And the other thing for, if you can just see, there's not much, but the buckle on the cross straps, the band in at the top of the musket, and sometimes there's enough under the musket stock there as well, and also the tip of the scab, the bayonet scabbard as well. The gold, which is Vallejo model air gold 066, so I use that. And what else do we do at this stage? Oh yeah, and the bayonet and the barrel on the musket is another model air paint, Vallejo model air, and that is gun grey 072. So that's that stage. As you can see, the miniature's starting to, oh, I'll just focus in a little bit here. Yeah, so the miniature's starting to take shape here, starting to look like something. Turn around. Yeah, I mean at this stage as well, there's maybe a little bits I've painted over on the backpack and the cartridge pouch and maybe the shoes, but at this point I'm not that too bothered about that. They'll get touched up before I do a final highlight in the black anyway, so I'm not too bothered about that. I usually leave that till one of the latter stages. So that's him all ready to go. Well, finally, this is a finished miniature here, which you've seen these guys before. Now we'll go through some of these colours. Now for highlighting the yellow, I use a Citadel paint. Just pop him back slightly. Citadel base colour, Overland Sunset. There was a few comments about the yellow. Some of you guys thought it looked very good, and I agree. Most Napoleonic miniatures, I use a paler shade of yellow, but I thought for these guys it suited them really well. So that's the highlight for the yellow on that one. Other thing is we start putting in the straps, cross belts, and all the white parts on the miniature, also on the backpack, knapsack and everything like that. And for that I use Vallejo model colour off-white, and that is 004. I never use white, it's either ivory or off-white, so that's what I use for the whites there. The flesh, and you've done the previous video, is Panzer Aces Highlights flesh, and that's 342. And what else do we have here? Done that. Oh, the musket, I only do 2 layers, so it's the base colour, and I also, it's another Foundry paint, and I finish it off with that one. Foundry Musket Stock Light, which is 72C. Nice colour, nice reddy brown. So that does the musket. Oh, dropped the miniature. That does the, finishes off the musket there. And I think that's about it. And then I would paint the hair, which is just various different shades of brown, and just whatever I have. I'll maybe slightly mix it up, lighter ones and darker.